I'm Hurley from Inklipse, and welcome to another video. And today I'm super excited to have fun and get inky using some alcohol inks, the new alcohol pearls, and also I'm going to share 3 new alcohol ink surfaces that are super fun to work with. I've made a video in the past sharing lots of different alcohol ink techniques and how different ways to use them, so if you want to see that video, be sure to click the top right corner right now. In today's video instead, we're just going to be exploring those 3 surfaces and kind of just playing around with the alcohol inks. If you guys see anything in this video that you like and want to purchase, I'll have links down below to several sources as well as picture links. That way you guys can go shopping down there, and I do earn a little bit of a percentage kickback at no extra cost to you. I really appreciate that. It's kind of how I run this channel, so thank you very much. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Alright, so the first alcohol ink surface is this silver sparkle alcohol ink cardstock, and I am absolutely in love with this one. It's super sparkly, but it's not like a chunky glitter. It's still a very smooth surface, and no glitter is coming off on my fingers. As you can see, my fingers are already dirty from the alcohol inks, but no glitter is going to come off of here, which I really like. Okay, so I rewatched this part over and I decided that I wasn't making any sense, so I'm going to voice over this section here. So I wanted it to basically look like an under the sea kind of underwater background, and you'll see we'll finish it off later on. But all I'm going to do is take some colors and I'm going to kind of make them in a line pattern. Instead of just dropping them on, this lines will kind of make it look like it's flowing like an under the sea kind of background. So here I'm adding in some blue colors like you normally would, and then I'm also going to throw down a couple other colors as well. So you'll see this kind of coral color. I also throw down a little bit of a yellow and a green. And the cool part about this is even if you're making an under the sea background, I encourage you guys to use other colors in there as well. You'll see later on in the background, most of it turns to blue and green, but you can still see peaks of that brighter yellow in there and some of the kind of coral colors, which I really like. I just find that going in with some brighter colors like this gives the background a little bit more depth and dimension as we keep going, rather than just using blues and teals and things like that. So I'm going to drop a little bit more teal kind of blue mermaid color into here to kind of make it a little bit more green, but I still do love all of those bright colors. One thing that I was really surprised about, let's get on to the actual surface that we're using. It's that sparkle cardstock, and one thing I was really surprised with is how well it still reacted with the alcohol inks. They still moved like regular alcohol inks. You can see when I dropped that blending solution in, it still kind of removed some of that color and pushed it around. It's still reacting really well, which I was surprised with. I wasn't expecting this, kind of feels more like a porous surface, to really react super well, but it does a great job at still creating those beautiful alcohol ink backgrounds. And one thing I love about this is it turns any alcohol ink super sparkly and shiny, which is a really cool effect to have on there. So you can see me going in and creating a little bit more bubbles in there, and I love to go in with this paintbrush as well. Ranger sells some paintbrushes. I keep one separate from my alcohol inks, but it just helps to move around and mix and blend them. Rather than getting your fingers messy or any other tools, the paintbrush works really nicely, and I can continue throwing other colors in here as well. I think I've got to be done here. I've got to be done somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'll set this off to the side to dry, and then we can come back once it's all finished and see the awesome sparkly background. Okay, I lied. I played with it just a little bit more, but now I'm totally finished. I've mixed some of those colors around, made it look a little bit more like water, and then I'm going to set this off to the side and let it dry so you guys can see the sparkle and shine once it's all dry. Since I use this brush, you really do want to keep a separate brush for alcohol inks. All I'm going to do is just kind of dip it in some blending solution to kind of get it nice and cleaned out. It's never going to come fully clean. I kind of find with alcohol inks, they kind of stay in there, and I'm totally fine with that. I just wipe off my brush. That's why I like to have a separate one for the alcohol inks, so that when I go to paint, there's not still alcohol ink in there. And then I can just wipe off my surface. I'm using my craft sheet here, so I'm able to clean it off with a little bit of blending solution, or you could use some hand sanitizer as well. All right, so once this is finished drying, you can totally see that awesome shimmer. It might be a little bit difficult to capture on camera, but in real life this is stunning. You can kind of see it there as I move it back and forth. All of that awesome shimmer that's underneath there. There's lots of glitter. I'm going to pull in the space training stamp set, and I'm going to use this little fish from it. It's supposed to go inside of here as kind of a fish tank, but I wanted to just use this by itself to create kind of a fun background. So what I'm going to do is just take the little fish, and I'm going to stamp it several times so we have a couple of the same image to color in, and then we can use this to kind of decorate and finish off that underwater scene. Alright, so I just finished this card off with some of those fish from the Space Trading stamp set, and I added little tiny gems on there, but I just love how this super shiny background, kind of the under the sea, really came together with all these fun little images on here. Now the second alcohol cardstock is this matte black surface. And again, lots of these don't feel like they should work for alcohol inks, but this does a really great job as well. It's kind of this smooth matte cardstock. It almost feels kind of velvety. It's going to be a great all-around black cardstock, but it works nicely with these alcohol inks as well. They kind of sit on top of the surface. Now to make this work, because alcohol inks are translucent inks, you want a snow cap mixative. Now I don't have that with me, but that's going to sit on top of the surface, and then when you add color on top of it, it's going to show the color. So I can't use regular alcohol inks on here unless if I have this snow cap. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some of these alcohol pearls. Now this is going to dry and you're not going to get a ton of color in there, but I did want to share this today. You're going to kind of get that pearl that's going to sit on top of that surface. So I'm just going to drip in a little bit of color here. We're going in first with Sublime, and the more you shake it up, the more mixative you kind of get. Then I'll throw in a little bit of Deception. I love these color names. I'll throw in, let's see, what's this one? Enchanted. And then we'll go in with some Alchemy, which is that nice yellow color. So you can see these are going on the surface right now, but as they dry, it's going to turn that more pearly color. Because these are still translucent inks, they just have that awesome pearl property to them. So as this dries, that color will kind of disappear, but you'll still get a little bit of tint to it. Okay, so there is the pearls on this matte black cardstock. I think that looks super cool. Of course, if you want all your alcohol inks to work on here super vibrant, you're going to need that snow cap, and these will work nicely on that snow cap as well. So it's just going to add a layer of white down before you can add on your color, and then it'll be super vibrant. But I love how this turned out as well, just with those pearls on there, super shiny, and again, they react nicely on this surface and move around really great. Okay, so to finish this card off, I used the Trampoline Friends stamp set to stamp these three little guys and the sentiment down, and that really finished off the card. Just those three little guys jumping in the air, kind of using this as a grounding point, and I really love all of that fun color on that matte black cardstock. Okay, so the last one is the new brushed silver surface. I love this. It's kind of a metallic surface, and when you look at it straight on, it's not super shiny, but when you kind of tilt it, you can see that nice silver effect. So what I'm going to do is I'll go in here with my regular colors. Let's go in with some Wild Plum. I'm just going to drop some color in here so you can kind of see what this looks like with that alcohol ink on it. It almost looks like a piece of real metal, which I think is so cool on these cards. So let's go in with a little bit of Mermaid. We're going to make a super bright background here. Let's go in with some Dandelion. You can see as these colors mix, they create new colors. I love working with alcohol inks. It always gives you new and fun backgrounds that are super cool to work with. So let's go in with some Watermelon. I love this bright colors. We're just going in with tons of color here. And then to kind of mix some of it around, we'll add in a little bit of blending solution here, just some drops. And then you can see lots of this color is building up here. So another tool that's really great is the blending tool with this felt top to it. So you can get little felt attachments that Ranger sells. And this is just going to help you move around that color a little bit, get some of that color spaced out and move it around. Kind of gets rid of some of those larger spots. All that buildup of color isn't great to have. Sometimes it can come off on your finger if you lay it on too thick like that. So I love to just kind of mix this color together, mix it in there. And then I can still go back in if I want to and just add some drops that are going to kind of react with that color, because it's always going to stay reactive, which I really love that about alcohol inks. They create some super fun effects in here. So I'm going to leave some of those not blended too much, but I love how this background is. So I'm going to okay. Okay, so once this one's finished, it's not so much shimmery, but has more of a shine, and especially really in person, it almost illuminates some of those colors from behind and makes it look like it was done on a piece of metal. And of course, if you left some edges of that brushed silver, you can get a really cool kind of a real metal look background. Now in some areas here, there's tons of buildup, and that's kind of where there's a ton of resin. And if I don't let that dry completely, those are still gonna be a little bit sticky. So one thing I love to do is I just grab some foil when I'm working with my alcohol inks. Just going to put it down on my background here and kind of rub it around, and in any of those places where there's still some of that resin, I can kind of feel it on there. It's going to pull off a little bit of my transfer foil. And that's number one, gonna make it look really cool, but it's also going to save your background from being super sticky when you touch it on there. So kind of filling it up with foil in some of those areas where there's buildup creates a really cool looking background. And this, I want it to look like a space kind of themed or a moon. And then I'm going to take some of the images from my space training stamp set, like that little rocket ship there, and we're gonna stamp these down. So I'm just taking this rocket ship and I'm gonna stamp it down onto a piece of my stark white cardstock. So all I had to do was finish that off with some images from the Space Training stamp set, and I turned that into kind of a planet, and I really love how this card turned out. All that fun color in there, and that brushed silver really illuminates that color and makes it super bright and fun. Alright, I hope you guys really enjoyed seeing those 3 cards we created on those new surfaces. Be sure to leave a comment down below as well, letting me know which card was your favorite in today's video. I always love chatting with you guys down there, and if you have any questions, be sure to leave them down there as well. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and also be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and that little bell icon next to the subscribe button will ensure that you'll never miss another crafty video like this one from me. Alright guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon for another card making and crafting video. Bye everyone!